Morning, everybody. Thank you for coming along this morning to this morning's meeting of the CCLI. My name is Councillor Graham Turner. Members of the committee, we have Councillor Davis and Councillor Crooks here. Item 2, minutes of the previous meeting. Can we approve the minutes of the meetings of the Cabinet Committee Local Issues held on the 29th of March 23, 20th of October and the 22nd of November? Quite a few issues with people attending, so can we approve those? Yeah, all okay, excellent. Item 3, declaration of interest. Any members got an declaration written? Absolutely good. Admission of the public. There's nothing today that we need to take in private, so the public are welcome to attend. And item 5, deputations and petitions. I believe we have Mr. Anshal, is it? Adman, right, sorry, I apologise, to present a deputation this morning. So if you'd like to give us your deputation.
Hello, good morning. My name is Mohammed Ajmal, and I'm here representing my fellow residents. It's just regarding the TRO, which affects the Booley Road and the Springdale Avenue areas. I think there are sort of detailed sort of notes regarding the objections as part of the pack. The main things I wanted to just sort of highlight again, and the reasons why I feel the TRO probably would do more harm than good overall for the residents. The main reason we are having issues with sort of parking, which probably isn't ideal, is because of the lack of on-street parking for the residents essentially, and this was one of the main reasons why the resident parking scheme was sort of rejected by the residents. The TRO proposes double yellow lines on sort of multiple junctions, which will be in place 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But what this doesn't sort of address is where these cars will go. So the TRO suggests that up to 120 metres of double yellows will be placed on a road which sort of houses about sort of 50 houses, which will essentially sort of rule out up to 24 parking spaces for the residents, which probably will have a major knock-on effect on where these cars will go. One of the sort of, I suppose the next concern was by having these double yellows at the junctions, it will clear the junctions, but these cars will inevitably have to go somewhere else. And what the TRO doesn't cover is the area of Booley Road itself. So on Booley Road itself, we do get issues with parking on both sides of the road, which leaves very little space for even cars to travel through. So most likely we are going to have issues with junctions being clear, but the road itself being impassable by most likely even cars should this go ahead. And in terms of the issues are mainly out of hours. So this is when people have actually returned back from work. And so it's going to be quite difficult to enforce the regulation because during the day the issue isn't actually there. So I think the main points were the double yellows will force the cars either into parking illegally, and most likely at a time when we can't actually enforce the TRO, which is going to be overnight and most likely on the weekends. And also, most likely these cars will go onto Booley Road itself, which isn't going to be affected by the restrictions, but that will make the road impassable altogether. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll move on. Public question time. Got any questions? No? Member question time. Councillor Lawson, do you want to speak on the item or now?
I was going to speak after Ken as well.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Right, okay. So, Ken, if you'd like to do your presentation, please.
Thank you, Chair. This Cabinet report is for the Kirklees Council Traffic Regulation number 16, Order 2023, which was proposed for prohibition of waiting on Blackmorefoot Road, Bewley Road, Nelson Street and Springdale Avenue in Huddersfield. The traffic regulation order was 2 separate locations within the Crossland and Netherton ward and was advertised as one, and both locations have received objections as a result of the advertising of the order. The order was advertised on the 4th of October and the objection period closed on the 1st of November. The reasons for the scheme in relation to the Blackmorefoot Road location was there were significant issues regarding access and egress and this had been raised by a number of businesses on Blackmorfoot Road. The main issue was that the staff and visitors of businesses on this section of Blackmorfoot Road were parking in such a way as to severely impede the access to and egress from the businesses. A scheme was developed to remove parking from these areas of concern, but also we had to make sure that the sections of Blackmorfoot Road were not, the other sections of Blackmorfoot Road were not just going to get the displaced parking. The reasons for the Bewley Road, Nelson Street and Springdale Avenue scheme was that over a number of months, the residents of Bewley Road have had issues with their bins not being emptied due to bin wagons not being able to gain access to Bewley Road and Nelson Street. To improve the possibility of these large vehicles gaining full access regularly, it was proposed to install no waiting at any time restrictions on key corners and junctions on Bewley Road, Nelson Street and Springdale Avenue. These would mean that the double yellow lines would free up these tight turning areas to allow the larger vehicles to be able to gain access. So we received one objection to Blackmorfoot changes, and this was from a business that is adjacent to the Woodcock and Wilson factory, and they use the road space to park their staff cars outside their own compound, as they have no space for staff vehicles on their site. The proposed no waiting at any time plans are to cover the objection is that if the proposed no waiting at any time plans are to cover the outside the business, then they politely object to this proposal. This is because the staff vehicles are parked there safely, legally and without obstruction to other road users stroke pedestrians, as well as this, considering other proposed plans for no waiting on the remainder of this road, we would be extremely concerned for the safety of our staff should they be forced to park their vehicles some few miles away from the premises. Our response is that the restrictions have been arranged such that any large vehicles will be able to turn out of the adjacent sites without difficulty in the future. The area of parking referred to by the objector is adjacent to the exit from Woodcock and Wilson and has significant operational difficulties as a result of the parking. The arrangement is such that there are two gates very close to each other, and in order to remove parking from potentially being too close to the Woodcock and Wilson access, the double yellow lines have been extended 10 metres beyond the second entrance. This is to allow for good visibility from this second access as well. The objections for the Bewley, there are 7 objections to the Bewley Road scheme, and these all relate to the loss of parking due to the extent of the double yellow lines, which is 10 metres on most legs and corners. They think it is overkill for the problem at hand. They believe this is too much for what the problem is, and it will have an impact on the ability for residents to park. The reasons we did the scheme is that the difficulties emptying the bins has been a long-running issue for the residents of Bewley Road. A number of attempts have been made by the waste team to improve how people park in this area to make access easier without any success. So it has meant that we need to introduce permanent restrictions to remove the parking from the problem areas. Complaints are still coming in regularly about missed bin collections, so the issues have not gone away, and this includes even last Wednesday when the bins weren't emptied. Added to that, the solution for parking seems to be to park half on the footway and on the road, half on the road, which is something that we would like to prevent, as this causes problems for pedestrians and disabled users. So we ask this committee to consider the objections as detailed above, along with the other related information, and wanting to note that both of these schemes are designed to provide parking restrictions so that larger vehicles can operate without obstruction, which they currently are not able to do consistently. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Ken. Councillor Lawson, do you want to come in at that point?
Apologies, I pressed the wrong button there. Thank you, Chair. I'm coming here today to support the report submitted by Ken Major regarding the proposed TROs on Bewley Road and Blackmorfoot Road. I would like to firstly thank Ken for not only bringing this report to Cabinet today, but for all the work he has put in an attempt to resolve the ongoing issues of access for the bin wagon on Bewley Road, and also the work by the waste support team with numerous letters and visits to the areas over the years. I checked my email folder marked Bewley Road bin issues last night. There were over 100 emails in there since I was first elected in May 2022, coupled with numerous phone calls and text messages. Whilst I was waiting to buy my coffee today, I received another email regarding Bewley Road bin issues. At best, you could describe the bin collection could be described as erratic due to access issues. Even a smaller wagon, when sent out to struggled to gain the needed access. My ward colleagues and I have done a number of door-knocking sessions, engagement sessions with residents. Both Councillor Safdar and I have taken cabinet members plus officers to Bewley Road to talk with residents about the numerous problems that they face. But the issue, we also have even sent out our own letter, but the problem of poor parking persists. Residents presented a petition asking for resident-only parking, and a formal consultation was held. Unfortunately, this was rejected. I also worry that should a fire engine ever be needed on the road, it will struggle, and we all know in an emergency, minutes count. Moving on to Blackmore Foot Road, again the pavement parking on this stretch of Blackmore Foot Road is brought to my attention on a regular basis. I would only have to post something slightly related to the area, and I would be asked, what are you going to do to sort out the top of Blackmore Foot Road? Only Saturday, whilst we were out doing a street surgery, was the issue with me on the doorstep again raised. The pavement parking not only causes access onto Blackmore Foot Road for the various businesses, but at times reduces the road to a single lane of traffic, I've been told by residents. But most importantly, in my mind, is the pavement parking causes a large stretch of the road to be impassable to pedestrians, people pushing prams, wheelchair users and mobility scooter users. Often they have to use the road to get past the numerous amount of cars parked on that stretch of the road. I can provide photographs of my visit up there yesterday if the committee wished to see them. Residents living along the area want something done about the issue, as it has been going on for years. And I feel that the plan scheme will go to some extent to relieve the problems for them. And I would ask the Cabinet overrule the one objection from a local business and take on board that the residents of this area really want to be able to, really want the problem sorting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lawson. We have a late arrival for this meeting, which technically is past the point of engaging with us, but I think in the interest of fairness, given the fact that they've come, we should listen to their representation. So is it Mr. Arnrash? See? Mr. Ahmed, right. So you've got 5 minutes if you want to speak to us, okay?
Okay, thank you. Hi. Obviously I'm aware of the issue. We are a local business in the area, and we do know what the residents are that do live opposite. What I would say is, obviously this is a commercial premises. It is listed as a commercial business. We do have staff. We employ 13 staff members, and ultimately we do require access. We do require parking. We have a car dealership, and as such we have customers that attend. So ultimately, by making it more restrictive for people to attend our premises, it will have a negative impact on the business. And I think that there should be some consideration about the fact that this isn't just sort of unruly parking. This is a business, and any business would have staff, clients, customers attending that business. So I appreciate on one hand, opposite there is a residential area, but obviously on the side of our side, it is a commercial premises. I should also point out that throughout we've been in that business 7-8 years, and our customers have never parked on the resident side. So where our business is on that side of the road, there's no residential properties, and all my staff, our clients, our customers all park on that side of the road. I do know there's issues on the other side of the road with another business, another premises, but again, I don't feel that's got anything to do with us, and I feel as though that we are being sort of, how can I put it, sort of some accountability is being put on us for that, for the tight parking. I should also mention that next door to us there's another huge commercial business that make wind turbines. They send huge lorries up that road. They're an industrial business, and I think they have some government contracts. So all this issue about cars and trucks coming up, that's not going to resolve unless these commercial businesses are asked to move location. If anything, I can just see it getting worse, because I also hear there's a consultation for some residential properties being put up on the former, I think, Loudon site, which is literally 2 minutes up the road. Then you've got the firework factory, which is also closed. So ultimately, if there is going to be some proper thought and planning on this, then I think all these aspects need to be considered. And as I said, just obviously bear in mind that we are a business that does need to operate, and we do need to have access and parking outside our premises. That's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, anybody got any comments? Moses?
Thanks, Chair, and thanks also to Ken for his presentation, and to Joe Lawson for coming in and giving a ward councillor perspective. Thanks also to members of the public for coming in and giving us your perspective. And apologies, what I've prepared to say, when I read through these papers, will duplicate some of what officers have said. But anyway, I think it does answer some of the residents' questions as well, so I'll go through with it. So this item covers TROs advertised simultaneously in 2 locations in the Crossland Moor and Netherton ward. The first relates to significant access restrictions caused by parked vehicles on the Black Moorfoot Road, and this has been raised by a number of local businesses. A scheme has been developed to remove parking from this section of the highway, with consideration given to ensuring that possible displaced parking does not cause any further issues further up the road. One objection was received on the basis that the parking arrangements are lawful and do not create an obstruction. It also states concern for staff safety, as Ken pointed out. The design scheme does remove the parking at this location in order to avoid obstruction and allow safe access to the businesses at the site. The extension of the parking restrictions 10 metres beyond the affected entrance allows better sight lines and improves safety for all road users, including those on foot. So for the above reasons, I do support officer recommendations for this proposal. Separately, residents on Bewley Road and Nelson Street have had long-standing issues with waste collections due to bin wagons not being able to gain access to them due to the parked cars. To resolve this long-standing and persistent issue, no waiting at any time restrictions along with double yellow lines have been proposed on key corners and junctions, freeing up tight turning areas and allowing large vehicles to obtain access. Most of these restrictions may already mirror existing no parking restrictions because of the proximity to junctions, and that's listed in the Highway Code. So to answer the questions that residents have brought in about loss of resident parking, these more visible markings will improve adherence to these rules, but don't actually remove significant legal parking as it stands at the moment. Some of the objections noted that parking restrictions are no longer required because there's been a change in practice and people are now parking on the pavement, but as Ken pointed out, that's not something that we would consider to be a solution to an access problem, because it does have a knock-on safety impact on pedestrians. So yeah, numerous attempts have been made to change the parking behaviour here and to ensure access for the wagons, but as Councillor Lawson has pointed out, the issue persists. So it's felt that this scheme will improve the situation and allow residents to benefit from regular waste collections, as well as improved highway safety. For these reasons, I fully support officer recommendations at paragraph 6 and propose that we implement these as advertised.
Thank you, Moses. Councillor Davis, anything to add?
Not a great deal, I think. The presentation from the officer from Ken was very comprehensive, including the comments from Councillor Lawson, obviously, and Councillor Crook has covered it comprehensively as well. It seems to me number of key areas around road safety, access and the waste collection. And from what I've read and heard today, the actions seem to me proportionate and relevant and will make a difference in all of those areas. So as Councillor Crook, I'd support officers' recommendations and proposals on this.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. Just for my 2 pence, I was actually in that area a few weeks ago, so I thought I'd have a drive up Blackmore Foot Road, and I have to say it was quite bad. Consequently, I've looked on Street View, and it's clearly that there's an issue up there. So I think that the WL lines is quite justified there, because there's clearly an issue up there. It's very tricky. Going back to the Bewley Road one, it's an interesting one because I suspect I'm not the only one. But I've got exactly the same problem with parts of my ward where you can't get bins wagons up because people park on corners. And we try and engage with the residents and try and find a solution to it, but sometimes it's not possible. What strikes me is sometimes a little bit odd is we get hung up on bin wagons. We can't get the bin wagon up. Nobody's yet mentioned how we get an ambulance or fire engine up there. And it's that important access that we need to be able to keep that clear for not only bin wagons, but other emergency services and even delivery vehicles. People have deliveries these days. I think whilst Moses quite rightly points out, people shouldn't be parking in. This formalisation will hopefully resolve that problem. So I'm fully, thank you very much for your deputation. Thank you very much. We have listened to you, but I think the justification for these WL lines has been well made by the report, by cabinet members, and by the local council. So I'm happy to support this. So all in favour? Thank you very much. Thank you very much for officers for attending. Thank you very much, Ken, and as I said, thank you very much to the public. And that concludes today's meeting.